The signal arrived when Earth was quiet. Far beyond the orbit of Pluto, where human machines listened more than they spoke, a deep-range sensor caught a pattern that did not belong to the stars. At first, it looked like noise. Random pulses. Broken waves. The kind of thing that usually came from dying satellites or ancient debris. But the system flagged it again. And again, in a dark control room beneath the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Kim Jae stood with his hands behind his back. He was not a tall man, and his hair was already gray, but his eyes were sharp. He had spent most of his life watching screens like these. He knew when something felt wrong. "Play it again," he said. The sound filled the room. A low hiss, then a weak repeating tone. Beneath it, something else. A rhythm. Too even to be natural. Lieutenant C.O. Mira adjusted the filters. "It's not stellar interference, sir. It's structured." Kim Jae nodded once. "Language?" "At least a form of it." They brought in Lee Hana from the Linguistics Division. She arrived still holding a cup of cold coffee, her hair tied back in a loose knot. She listened in silence as the signal played on loop. After several minutes, she spoke softly. "It's a distress call. An SOS." The room went still. "Origin?" Kim Jae asked. "Far," Hana replied. "Outside our usual trade lanes. Near coalition space." That alone made it dangerous. Earth had spent decades staying quiet. Humans traded, talked, and smiled, but they hid their teeth. Other species knew Earth was a death world, a place of storms, predators, and pressure. But they believed humans had learned to be calm, peaceful, safe. The signal said otherwise. Hana continued working, breaking the message apart piece by piece. The language was old, layered with emergency codes used by civilian fleets and refugee worlds. Whoever sent it had not expected help from Earth. As the translation grew clearer, the room grew colder. "They are under attack," Hana said. "A colony world. Mixed species, non-military." "What kind of attack?" asked Commander Park Tae, who had entered without anyone noticing. He leaned against a console, arms crossed. Hana hesitated. "Total. Orbital strikes. Ground sweeps. They say the attackers are stripping the planet." No one spoke. "Play the last segment," Kim Jae said. The sound changed. The static dropped for a moment, and voices came through. Faint, shaking. Not one voice, but many. Different tones. Different species. And then, very clearly, a child cried. It was short. Just a sound. But it cut deeper than any weapon. Park Tae pushed himself upright. "That's enough," he said. "We respond." Kim Jae did not answer right away. He looked at the star map, at the thin line that marked the signal's path. To answer meant breaking silence. It meant revealing how fast, how strong, how ready Earth truly was. It meant reminding the galaxy what kind of world humans came from. "The Council will object," Mira said quietly. "They always do," Park Tae replied. Kim Jae finally spoke. "Prepare a report. No broadcast. No announcement. Quiet launch only." Hana looked up. "So, we are answering?" "Yes," Kim Jae said. "But we do not ask permission." Deep beneath Earth's surface, systems woke up that had not been used in years. In lunar docks, massive clamps released ships that had been waiting in silence. In the oceans, steel shapes rose slowly from the dark, shedding water like skin. Captain Choi Jun stood on the bridge of the carrier Dauntless Earth. The ship was not beautiful. It was built thick, layered with armor and old scars. Every line served a purpose. "Status?" he asked. "All systems green," said Yuna Park from the sensor station. "Fleet elements reporting in." No external chatter. Jun nodded. "Good, keep it that way." Across the fleet, crews moved with calm focus. There were no speeches, no cheering. Humans did not celebrate before a fight. They checked weapons. They checked each other. On the medical deck, Arakin secured supplies into crash lockers. She moved fast, but her hands were steady. She had treated soldiers, civilians, and aliens before. Pain was universal. Fear, too. Another rescue? Someone asked her. She paused. Another survival, she said, as the fleet aligned for jump. Lee Hanna stood beside Kim Jae in the command core. The stars ahead bent slightly, waiting. They didn't call us by name, Hanna said. They just sent the signal into the dark. Kim Jae watched the countdown begin. That is how it always starts, he said. Someone hopes the dark is listening. The jump engines fired. Space folded, and the fleet vanished. Far away. On a world burning under foreign skies, the last defenders watched the heavens. Their weapons were failing. Their shields were gone. Fires covered the cities. The SOS transmitter sparked, damaged and weak. One of the refugees whispered, "No one is coming." In that moment, the sky changed. Shapes appeared where nothing had been before. Dark, solid, and moving fast. They did not broadcast demands. They did not slow down. The human fleet had arrived. And for the first time since the attack began, the attackers hesitated. The fleet moved like shadows across the void. Each ship was heavy, armored, and quiet, yet radiated a presence that no enemy could ignore. They were built not for beauty, but for survival and dominance. Shaped by centuries of Earth's harsh conditions, Captain Choi Jung observed the formation from the bridge of Dauntless, Earth. Every ship in the fleet responded instantly to commands. Their crews trained for situations that would break ordinary humans. His eyes scanned the sensors, noting the positions of enemy ships far ahead. They were numerous, but disorganized. They had assumed no one would respond to an SOS so far from known space. Una Park spoke softly, though the entire bridge could hear. Enemy ships are in orbital positions around the colony world. They are heavily armed. Estimates are 20-1 against us. Jun did not flinch. He had seen worse. He had survived worse. Numbers do not matter, he said. Precision matters. Discipline matters. Move to intercept. The fleet advanced. Alien ships opened fire as soon as the humans came into range. Energy beams tore through the vacuum, but the human ships absorbed or deflected them with shields and thick armor. The attackers had expected fear. They had not expected humans to press forward into kill zones. Lieutenant C.O. Mira, monitoring communications, frowned. They are calling for backup. They have no idea who they face. Jun smiled faintly. Then we will teach them. The first engagement was fast and brutal. Humans struck in patterns that seemed chaotic to outsiders, but were perfectly coordinated among themselves. Small, agile craft darted around heavier ships, drawing fire while the main fleet advanced. Weapons fired not to scare, but to destroy, and yet always to protect the targets they came to save. On the Dauntless Earth, the crew worked silently. Irakim monitored medical bays, ready to receive injured refugees as soon as the fleet established a safe corridor. She had worked in combat zones before, but even she felt the weight of this mission. Lives depended entirely on them. Captain Jun watched a small group of enemy ships flank the fleet. Una, target the lead vessel. Fire only when I say. Yes, Captain, Una responded. Her hands moved over the console with the speed of someone who had performed this exact sequence dozens of times. The lead alien vessel erupted in controlled fire, its systems collapsing under precision strikes from multiple angles. It drifted, burning, before exploding silently in the void. Every enemy ship that attacked next hesitated, unsure of the human speed and strategy. Observing this, the aliens began to realize they were dealing with predators from a world that bred survival into every individual. On the planet below, survivors watched the sky change color as explosions and defensive shields illuminated the clouds. Some screamed in hope. Some froze in disbelief. The attackers had thought they would face weaklings, civilians who could not fight back. Instead, they faced humans, Deathworlders, who had come to the rescue. Commander Park Tae directed ground support. Using remote drones and small, rapid deployment units, he moved across the planet to extract civilians while keeping them protected from enemy bombardment. "Keep moving," he said to his team. "Do not stop. Do not look back." Min Lee, leading a squad of specialized infantry, advanced through the toxic atmosphere without hesitation. The alien environment that would kill most humans in minutes was just another challenge for them. They evacuated families and wounded aliens alike, their movements swift and calculated. They were the embodiment of Earth's harsh training. Adaptable, relentless, and fearless, the battle raged on for hours. Humans pushed forward, each move precise, each strike devastating. The enemy had superior numbers, but they lacked the coordination and experience that came from surviving harsh worlds. They fired recklessly, attempting to scare the humans. But human ships moved like living creatures, anticipating attacks, closing gaps, and striking when it mattered most. In one critical moment, a massive alien vessel attempted to cut off the fleet's advance, its energy cannons threatening to destroy the refugee transports. Captain Jun calculated the angles and timing, giving the command to intercept. The humans struck together. Smaller ships drew the enemy fire while the main force closed in. Within minutes, the enemy vessel was disabled, forced to drift away under the pressure of coordinated attack. Lee Hanno watched from the command core as data flowed in. Each alien maneuver, each failed attack, each retreat told a story. The attackers were unprepared for a species that treated death as a tool, not a threat. Humans fought to survive, yes, but they also fought to protect. That combination, strength and mercy, was terrifying to the enemy. On the ground, Era Kim moved among the injured. She patched wounds, administered emergency care, and provided comfort. Her hands were steady, even under fire. Around her, human squads defended the evacuation corridors, keeping civilians safe. Even the smallest gestures, the holding of a frightened alien child's hand, the reassurance given to a panicked parent spoke volumes about humanity's commitment. Enemy morale began to crumble. Their attacks became desperate, uncoordinated, and increasingly brutal. They had underestimated humans. They had assumed Earth's legends were myths. They were discovering too late that humans from a death world were unstoppable when provoked and uncompromising when protecting the helpless captain. Jun watched another enemy ship fall. He did not celebrate. There was no time. Every ship mattered. Every life mattered. "Prepare for the next wave," he said. "They will regroup. We cannot let them regroup." Park Tae directed the ground teams to push forward. Roads were cleared, refugees moved into safer zones, and drones provided surveillance. Humans were methodical. Every move was calculated, every action purposeful. Their speed and precision were overwhelming. The attackers realized their mistake. Humans did not fear. Humans did not retreat. Humans turned every disaster into advantage. Every strike, every defense, every maneuver was designed not just to survive, but to win. Hours passed. The alien fleet shrank. They had lost leadership, coordination, and confidence. The human fleet, despite facing superior numbers, continued forward, relentless and unstoppable. Era Kim looked out from the medical bay at the night sky. Explosions lit up the atmosphere above the city, but below, civilians were moving, guided by human hands and human courage. She felt something rare. Hope. In space, Captain June prepared the next coordinated strike. "This ends soon," he said. "Keep focus. Protect the civilians. That is our mission." On the planet below, the survivors began to whisper among themselves. "They are different," one said. "They are not like any others we have seen." Indeed, they were not. They were humans from a death world, trained, ready, and merciless in the face of evil. And they had come for those in need. The humans did not stop. Even as the first rays of the alien sun lit the battle-scarred planet, the fleet continued its advance, moving in ways that seemed reckless to any outside observer, but which were precise to those who knew their methods. Every ship, every soldier, every drone acted in perfect coordination. Earth's Deathworlders did not retreat, did not hesitate, and did not fear the environment that could kill most species in minutes. On the ground, Sergeant Min Lee led his squad through streets littered with debris and smoke. Buildings that had once been homes now stood as jagged silhouettes against the sky. Civilians were scattered, terrified, and confused. Min Lee moved swiftly among them, guiding them to safety corridors while his team provided cover. Their movements were fast and efficient. Every human knew their role, and they executed it with deadly precision. Era Kim moved alongside the evacuees, her medical kit heavy but manageable. She treated wounds quickly, speaking words of comfort that transcended language. Many of the survivors could not understand her, but her calm presence and confident actions reassured them. The humans were saving lives even in the middle of chaos. High above, Captain Choi Jun directed the fleet. Sensors reported enemy attempts to regroup, but every maneuver was anticipated. Una Park's fingers flew across the controls, intercepting communications, tracking enemy ships, and providing Jun with a constantly updating tactical picture. "They're trying to flank from the south," she said. Jun nodded. "Intercept and neutralize. No civilian harm." The humans struck with precision. Small attack ships drew enemy fire, while larger vessels struck critical systems. Explosions lit the void, but they were measured, focused, and efficient. Alien crews watched in disbelief. They had assumed that Earth humans were slow, fragile, and prone to panic. They were learning the hard way that nothing could have been further from the truth. On the planet, Min Lee's squad moved toward a central plaza where civilians had gathered. Enemy drones hovered, searching for easy targets. Min Lee deployed portable shields, drawing enemy fire while the civilians moved behind them. Every step was dangerous, but every step was necessary. Retreat was not an option. Era Kim treated a small alien child who had been injured by debris. She held the child's hand, whispering words that made no sense to the child, but soothed their fear. Around them, other medics and soldiers did the same. Humans did not abandon the helpless. They fought for the living, no matter the cost. In space, Captain June watched another alien vessel attempt to break through the human lines. "Prepare a coordinated strike," he said. "Time it with the surface teams." The attack was executed flawlessly. Smaller ships moved in tight formation, drawing fire while the main fleet's weapons disabled the enemy vessel. It drifted, dead in space, a warning to those who remained. The humans were unstoppable, not because they were stronger, but because they were relentless and disciplined. Lee Hana analyzed the alien communications. She noticed panic spreading among the attackers. Their commands were fragmented, their morale breaking. The humans were not only defeating them physically, but psychologically. Every failed attack and every lost ship increased fear and confusion. Back on the planet, Min Lee's squad reached the central plaza. Civilians crowded around, scared but moving. "Follow us," he shouted. They ran through streets filled with rubble, guided by human soldiers who treated each life as precious. Drones provided reconnaissance, and other squads cleared obstacles ahead. The humans' understanding of tactics, terrain, and human nature gave them an advantage no alien force could match. Era Kim worked tirelessly, treating wounds and calming the frightened. She moved among humans and aliens alike, her presence a symbol of Earth's determination to protect the innocent. Soldiers around her provided security, but her calm focus radiated confidence that helped the survivors continue forward. The alien fleet attempted a coordinated strike, bringing every available ship to bear. They underestimated the humans again. The fleet moved as a single organism, each ship anticipating the others, filling gaps, exploiting weaknesses. Even when outnumbered, they pressed forward. Their movements were fearless, calculated, and efficient. Captain June ordered another strike. The alien command ship was destroyed, leaving the remaining attackers leaderless. Confusion spread quickly among the enemy. Humans did not need to fight them all. They only needed to demonstrate control, precision, and resolve. Fear did the rest. On the planet, the evacuation corridors were almost complete. Min Lee's squad guided the last groups to safety. Era Kim treated the final wounded, her hands steady despite exhaustion. Civilians and alien refugees looked at the humans with awe and gratitude. They had witnessed something extraordinary. Humanity had arrived not only to fight, but to protect. Lee Hanna monitored incoming transmissions from the surviving attackers. Their messages were fragmented, fearful, and confused. They had learned a lesson they would not forget. Humans from Deathworlds were unpredictable, unstoppable, and merciless when defending the innocent. Even as the battle drew to a close, Captain Jun kept the fleet in formation. There were still threats, still dangers, still lives to protect. Humans did not celebrate victory before the mission was complete. Their focus remained sharp, their resolve unbroken. On the planet, survivors gathered in the safe zones. They were weary, shaken, and frightened, but alive. They watched the humans moving through the streets, ensuring no one was left behind. Era Kim helped a child find their parent, a small act that symbolized the greater mission. Min Lee and his squad scanned for threats, ready to act if danger remained. In orbit, the human fleet maintained a protective presence, their sensors sweeping for any remaining threats. Unipark reported constant updates to Captain June, who maintained focus on the mission. Every move was deliberate, every decision calculated. There was no room for error, no time for hesitation. The enemy had been defeated, not by luck, not by numbers, but by humans who understood survival, discipline, and compassion. They had faced the unknown, adapted to hostile environments, and executed their mission with precision. Humans had turned chaos into order, fear into strategy, and helplessness into hope. As the humans prepared to withdraw, they left behind a planet still recovering, still in shock, but alive. Civilians and survivors would remember the humans not as strangers, but as saviors. Humans from a death world had arrived when needed most. Unstoppable in their determination, and relentless in their protection of the innocent. The aftermath of the battle was quiet, but tension still hung in the air. The human fleet hovered above the planet, scanning for any remaining threats. Every crew member knew that victory could not be assumed until every civilian was safe and every enemy neutralized. Captain Choi Jun walked along the bridge of dauntless Earth, his hands behind his back. He observed the quiet, the subtle movements of his fleet. They were not celebrating. They never did before a mission was complete. Each ship maintained its formation, sensors active, weapons ready. Discipline was in their blood. Lieutenant Unipark adjusted her console, her eyes scanning every signal. There are scattered enemy vessels attempting to escape. Their command structure is broken. They are confused. Jun nodded. Allow them to leave. We are not hunters today. Our mission is protection, not destruction. On the ground, Commander Park Tae moved through the city with his teams. The streets were filled with rubble, smoke, and frightened civilians. Every corner was carefully checked. Evacuation corridors had been established, but the danger was not completely gone. Min Lee's squads worked tirelessly to guide people safely, ensuring no one was left behind. Even with the battle over, the humans moved as if the fight was still ongoing. Ira Kim tended to the injured, her hands steady despite fatigue. Wounds were patched, broken limbs supported, and frightened survivors comforted. She had seen more suffering than most could imagine, yet her focus never wavered. Each life saved reinforced the humans' commitment: protect the helpless, end the threat. Hannah watched the data from the alien fleet. Their transmissions were fragmented, full of fear and panic. The enemy had lost not only ships and soldiers, but confidence and control. The humans had broken their morale without fully exterminating them. This was deliberate. Humans did not destroy without reason. They fought to stop the threat and protect those who could not fight. Some survivors approached the human squads, bowing or offering thanks. Min Lee smiled briefly and gestured for them to continue moving. "Stay together. Move forward," he said. There was no arrogance in his tone. Just focus and discipline. Captain June observed the planet below, knowing that the mission was almost complete. He thought about the lives saved, the precision of his fleet, the courage of his soldiers. Each had acted without hesitation, adapting to alien tactics, hostile terrain, and unexpected dangers. This was the essence of humanity from a death world: relentless, adaptive, and protective. Above the planet, the fleet maintained defensive patterns. Sensors were tuned for threats, scanning debris fields and escape vectors. Una Park noted minor signals of damaged enemy ships trying to regroup. "They are attempting a final strike," she said. Chun considered the options carefully. "We cannot allow any remaining threat to endanger civilians. Prepare a controlled strike. Disable, do not kill." The coordinated human attack was precise. Targeted weapon systems neutralized the enemy without collateral damage to the civilians below. The aliens were pushed back, their final attempts to reorganize failing under the humans' unyielding pressure. For the first time, the attackers realized that humans were not only deadly in combat, but deliberate and calculating. Every strike had purpose. Every movement was measured. On the ground, Era Kim moved through makeshift triage zones. She worked silently, efficiently, treating injuries from burns, debris, and panic. Her presence provided a calming influence. Even alien children, terrified by humans, felt a strange sense of security under her care. Min Lee's squads cleared the last city blocks, ensuring that the evacuation was complete. They encountered isolated enemy units, but neutralized them with minimal violence. Discipline and control were paramount. They acted as guardians, not executioners. Civilians moved behind them, their fear slowly turning to relief. Lei Hana monitored enemy communications one last time. Their transmissions were now panicked and incoherent. "They are surrendering control," she reported. "Their command is broken. They no longer know where to attack." Captain Jun allowed a faint nod. The mission was nearing completion. The humans had achieved what few thought possible. They had defended the innocent, neutralized a larger force, and preserved life even in chaos. They were not conquering. They were protecting. That distinction was clear to everyone who witnessed their actions. On the planet, survivors were brought to central safe zones. Families were reunited, children comforted, and the injured treated. Humans moved among them, checking that all were accounted for. Min Lee ensured that every corridor was clear. No one had been left behind. Era Kim continued her work, her calm presence inspiring hope. In orbit, the fleet maintained position, until every civilian signal was confirmed safe. Sensors scanned for hidden dangers, debris, or rogue enemy units. Yuna Park worked tirelessly, providing real-time updates to Captain Jun. The human's vigilance was unbroken. Finally, as the last signals confirmed safety, Captain Jun allowed a brief moment of relaxation. Not celebration, but acknowledgement. Each crew member had acted with courage, discipline, and precision. The humans had lived up to their reputation as unstoppable Deathworlders. They had arrived when the helpless cried out and had done what no other force could: save lives. Without succumbing to chaos. As the fleet prepared to withdraw, Hana reflected on the mission. The galaxy would now know humans not just as survivors, but as protectors. Civilizations would remember this day, and the message would spread. When the weak call for help, Earth's Deathworlders answer. They are unstoppable, relentless, and merciless only to those who threaten life. On the planet below, survivors watched the human ships slowly retreat. They were not leaving because the fight was over. They were leaving because the mission had been fulfilled. Their presence had been enough. Humanity had arrived, fought, and ensured survival. No banners were raised, no songs sung. The humans returned to silence, their duty complete, leading behind hope, safety, and a lesson the galaxy would not forget. The human fleet moved away from the planet quietly. Their mission was complete. Every civilian was safe, every enemy neutralized or forced to retreat, and the chaos that had threatened the colony world was finally ending. Yet the humans did not celebrate. They never did before the duty was fully done. Captain Choi Jun observed the fleet from the bridge above. Dauntless Earth, the stars stretched infinitely ahead, and each point of light reminded him of the countless worlds humans had not yet protected. His thoughts were calm, focused, but heavy with responsibility. Humanity's role in the galaxy had always been quiet, hidden, and yet immensely powerful. This mission was just one example. Lieutenant Yuna Park monitored sensors with practiced ease. Even in victory, she remained alert, scanning for any signs of danger. Some alien ships had fled, but the humans knew that even the smallest threat could turn into a disaster if not monitored. All clear for now, she reported. John nodded. Maintain formation until we are well out of their space. On the planet below, Commander Park Tae watched as humans ensured the safe relocation of survivors to more secure areas. Streets were still filled with rubble, but order was returning. Human squads remained in position until every civilian signal was accounted for. Min Lee and his teams moved through the last sectors, confirming no one had been left behind. Their discipline and vigilance were unwavering. Era Kim tended to the remaining injured, her hands steady despite exhaustion. Children clung to their parents, frightened but alive. Some survivors looked up at the sky, seeing the human ships leaving. Their emotions were mixed: relief, gratitude, and awe. They had been protected by beings they barely understood, but would never forget. Back on dauntless Earth, Lee Hana reviewed intercepted transmissions from the retreating enemy fleet. Confusion and fear filled their messages. They had never faced humans like these before. The attackers realized, too late, that humans from a death world did not fight for power or glory. They fought for survival and protection. Their discipline, adaptability, and courage made them unstoppable. Captain Jun considered the impact of their actions. The galaxy would now know that humans could not be underestimated. Civilizations would spread the story of the fleet that arrived in silence, fought without hesitation, and saved countless lives without seeking reward. The humans' reputation as Deathworlders, unstoppable in the defense of the helpless, had been cemented. On the planet, survivors began to speak quietly among themselves. They told stories of humans who moved with precision, of squads that never faltered, of medics who cared without pause. Children spoke of the soldiers who held their hands and guided them to safety. The impression left was one of awe, respect, and gratitude. Captain June watched the fleet maintain formation, ensuring no stray enemy craft could attack. He thought about every decision made, every strike executed, every life saved. Discipline and strategy had been critical, but so had humanity. The humans' capacity to act with mercy and precision simultaneously was what made them unique. Min Lee's squads began to withdraw from the streets, leaving the civilians in secure zones. The soldiers moved with the same calm efficiency they had displayed throughout the battle. They did not look for praise or recognition. They acted because it was their duty. Every step, every movement, every decision had been made to protect life. Era Kim packed her medical supplies, ready to move if needed. Her work had been exhausting, but every saved life was a reward beyond words. She moved among humans and aliens, ensuring that the smallest injuries were treated and that everyone had access to basic care. Her presence provided reassurance and stability. In orbit, sensors continued to monitor the surrounding space. Some enemy ships had fled to distant sectors, but they would carry with them the knowledge of human resolve. The galaxy would remember the day Earth's Deathworlders answered a call for help. Humans were relentless, disciplined, adaptive, and compassionate all at once. Lee Hanna reflected on the mission's success. They had saved countless lives, neutralized threats without unnecessary destruction, and left the colony world intact. Humanity had acted as protectors, not conquerors. That lesson would ripple across civilizations, shaping perceptions and strategies for years to come. Captain Jun finally allowed a moment of quiet reflection. No words were spoken, no celebration performed. The humans had done what they were trained to do. They had answered the call, defended the helpless, and ensured survival. That was enough. As the fleet continued its journey back to Earth, the survivors below began rebuilding. They would carry the memory of humans not as fearsome outsiders, but as saviors. Stories would spread, lessons would be learned, and respect for Earth's Deathworlders would grow. The galaxy would now know that when the helpless cry out, humanity answers. Even in silence, the humans' reputation expanded. They did not boast, did not demand recognition, and did not seek power. They acted because it was their nature, to endure, to protect, and to survive. The SOS had summoned Earth's unstoppable fleet, and the galaxy would never forget it. As the ships approached safe space and the stars returned to familiar patterns. Captain Jun, Commander Park Tae, Lee Hanna, Min Lee, and Era Kim looked out into the void. They were weary but resolute. Humanity had shown its strength, its compassion, and its relentless determination. The mission was over, but the impact would last forever. The fleet entered the dark of space quietly, leaving the planet and its survivors with safety, hope, and a lesson learned. Humanity's silent answer to the SOS had changed everything. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's unstoppable Deathworlders in action, and the story would echo through time. When life is threatened, humans will arrive, relentless and unstoppable, to defend the helpless,